all participants and distinguished guests. I would like to congratulate each one of you for attending today's seminar. Human existence in near future is in question today, and how we sustain in this world with finite resources is an issue that we all need to deal with collectively beyond geographical barriers. This seminar attempts to address this topic, and I'm proud to be associated with you all. I thank Professor Shugro Michael Gomes, who is a great friend of mine, for giving me an opportunity to speak. Sustainability is something very near and dear to my heart. I am personally involved in many green initiatives in my organization where I work. I work at a multinational food and beverage company in the USA where I'm based. Due to geographical distance and time zone difference, I could not do a live presentation in person or live video stream. Hope you will bear with me and hear my views. Sustainable development means integrating the decision-making process across your organization or habitat so that every decision is made with an eye to the greatest long-term benefits. It means eliminating the concept of waste, thinking cradle to cradle rather than cradle to grave, and building on natural processes and energy flows and cycles. Recognizing the interrelationship of our actions with the natural world. Are you creating more productive and healthier work environments, ones that respond to today's needs without imposing additional cost upon future users? Are you considering the impact of the environment on the future generations? When sustainable development informs every business decision you make, chances are you are making the right decisions, those that benefit you, your agency, the environment, and your bottom line. Imagine building producing more energy than they use, water cleaner when it leaves the building than when it arrived, better indoor light and air quality, and healthier and more productive work environments. Imagine projects where physical, biological, socioeconomic, cultural, and environmental needs are so complete that the environmental assessment concludes no mitigation required. When I think about sustainability, I always think of a quote by William McDonough, and I quote, "Let's talk about sustainability in a new way." I don't like the word sustainability very much actually. It is useful because nobody knows what it means. It is long, it can go everywhere, therefore travels well. So that's good. We can all use it. But if you think about sustainability, is it really that exciting? What if I asked you, how is your relationship with your spouse? And you say, sustainable. It's not that interesting really. I would almost feel as if I had to say, I'm sorry to hear that. So shouldn't we really be looking for something that is actually very productive? You know, that's full of blood, vigor, and excitement. Most of us here in this room have a workplace or classroom that are bound by walls and a ceiling. Why not we start where we spend our time the most? How we develop the workplace greatly influences the well-being and performance of employees and the organization. A sustainable approach considers many workplace aspects. How we work, including paperless offices, using remanufactured, recycled, and energy-efficient products. Where we work includes conventional or alternative office settings like telecommuting or working from anywhere remotely. How we get to work, including the use of mass transit and transit subsidies, alternative fuel vehicles, bicycles, and even walk from nearby housing. Using and building on available natural light and ventilation can reduce stress and improve workers' cognitive skills and performance while reducing energy consumption and operating costs. Today's HVAC designs provide increased fresh air in tenant-controlled environments. New lighting technologies supply ample light to offices without the glare or heat buildup. complementing natural light and exterior views. The sustainable workplace is an excellent tool for promoting an organization to its customers. Most importantly, it can attract and retain talented workers, instilling dedication and pride of ownership when employees can relate to working in a place and for an organization that is committed to protecting the earth and demonstrates that commitment through its actions. The new generation of workers value sustainability while deciding the company they join and place they work at. Buildings are where Americans spend almost 90% of their time. They use one-third of our total energy and two-thirds of our electricity. Their construction consumes one-fourth of all harvested wood. Approximately 3 billion tons of raw material are used annually to construct buildings worldwide. Buildings consume 17% of water and 50% of chlorofluorocarbons, alternatively called as CFCs. They also produce directly or indirectly 33% of carbon dioxide and 40% of landfill waste. Think about it. Sustainability will come as an evolution, not a revolution, and will achieve through a series of steps, each of which contributes a small incremental improvement, making everyone in the organization aware of the concept of sustainability is essential if it is to have an effect on day-to-day decision-making process and operations. What are the critical factors involved in implementing a sustainable development strategy? Firstly, executive leadership must understand sustainability and commit to its principles. It is not enough to simply recycle paper and apply some green design concept and encourage individual divisions to adapt to green practices. Second, the most successful organizations have an established vision and mission which gets translated into specific long-term improvement objectives and targets with high-level visibility throughout all levels of the organization. Third, there must be a formalized process for identifying the environmental aspects and impacts of an organization's operation, products, and services. Finally, the performance must be measured. Performance measurement includes audits, measuring the effectiveness of management systems, and metrics that track day-to-day operations. As Indra Nooyi, the CEO of PepsiCo, says, and I quote, "Great companies are built to succeed today, tomorrow, and well into the future. Our commitment to balancing excellent operating performance with sustainable business practices is a big reason why PepsiCo has become one of the world's top beverage and food companies." PepsiCo was the only company based in the US to earn the top ranking in the 19 super sections assessed for the year 2011. This was the third consecutive year that the company had been named the leader in the beverage sector. The top ranking achieved by PepsiCo was the result of its focus on sustainable development practices around the world, according to some analysts. Each country's approach to developing its sustainability will be very different. In many countries, it is likely to require the coordination of a suite of different processes, some existing and some others new. Other countries may choose to prepare a single umbrella strategy. Whatever its format, a strategy will need to suit the nation's individual set of ecological and socio-cultural, economic, and institutional conditions. Any form of straitjacket is inappropriate. There has been unprecedented progress in development over the past 30 years. Think about it. Life expectancy in developing countries has risen by more than 20 years. Infant mortality rates have been halved and the school enrollment rates have doubled. Food production and consumption have increased around 20% faster than population growth. Improvements in income levels, health, and educational attainments have sometimes closed the gap with industrialized countries. Notwithstanding this remarkable progress, there are also pressing constraints on development and entrenched negative trends. These include social disparity and poverty, the impact of disease such as HIV, AIDS, and malaria, Overconsumption of resources in the industrialized countries contribute to climate change and environmental deterioration and pollution of many kinds, including the impact of intensive farming, depletion of natural resources, and loss of forest, other habitats, and biodiversity. Over the last decade, governments, the private sector, and civil society in countries across the world have struggled to meet the challenges of sustainable development through a wide array of approaches to develop each vision's linkages and partnerships at national and local levels. Economic disparity and political instability. The economic fortunes of most nations have risen steadily in the past 20 years. But still, too many nations have experienced economic decline and falling per capita income. Disparity in incomes between the rich and the poor within nations, between wealthy and poorer nations, and between multinational companies and the countries in which they operate or avoid continues to widen. This means that a relatively small percentage of world's people, nations, and corporations control much of the world's economic and natural resources. This, as well the marginalization of ethnic and other minorities from processes of governance and economic opportunity, contribute to instability. Political instability sometimes leads to violent conflicts, further hinders socio-economic progress in many countries and regions. Population growth is expected to exacerbate these pressures, although it is actually people's localized concentration or their resource consumption level that matters more than their numbers. Since 1971, global energy use has increased by nearly 70% and projected to continue to increase by over 2% over the next 15 years, despite the fact that 2 billion people are still largely unconnected to the fossil fuel-based economy. While this increase will mean that more people will have access to energy services, it will raise greenhouse gas emissions by 50% over current levels, unless there are serious efforts to increase energy efficiency and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Although there has been a considerable growth in technical progress in use of renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, geothermal, hydroelectric, and other public infrastructure, and the convenience of the fossil fuels and their low price seriously inhibit any large-scale switch to the use of such clean energy sources in this foreseeable future. In the late 1990s, the annual emission of CO2 were almost 4 times the level of 1950, with atmospheric concentration of CO2, meaning carbon dioxide, reaching their highest level in 160,000 years. Most countries now experience anything from moderate to severe levels of pollution, which places a growing strain on quality of water, soil, and air. Despite cleanups in some countries and sectors, a massive expansion in the availability and use of chemical throughout the world, exposure to pesticides, heavy metals, small particles, and other substances all pose an increasing threat to human health and environment. The planet's natural ecosystem and biodiversity are key assets for economic growth and human well-being. Ecosystem services such as freshwater, soil production and sustainability, pollination, coastal protection, and carbon sequestration provide the natural infrastructure essential to sustainable economic growth and poverty alleviation, and serve as safety nets for many of the world's vulnerable people. Our natural ecosystems also provide multiple economic goods worth many billions of dollars, such as food, feed, fuel, timber, fish, and raw materials for medicine, agricultural industry, as well as the basic subsistence, cooking and heating of billions of people, and important social, economic, cultural benefits. Finally, the famous saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but borrow it from our children. It is in our best interest to be conscious of the actions, of our own actions, and any harm we do directly will affect our children and grandchildren. Think about it. I wish you all a great time at the seminar and enjoy your day. Thank you.